Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. And my name is Prasanna. I'm visiting from Omaha. So today, even though I have no qualification, but because of the, I request all of your mercy on me, and so that I can speak few words. So senior Vaishnavas like Krishna Prabhu and wonderful Kirtan Prabhu. So I request all of your mercy so that I can speak few words. Hare Krishna. So Srimad Bhagavatam. So we'll start with prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Narayanam Namaskritva Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Tado Jaya Mudirayat. Srunvatam Swakataha Krishnaha. Punya Sravana Kirtanaha. Hrudayantastahi Abhadrani. Vidinoti Suhrit Sutam. Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu. Bhagavate Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaye. Bhagavate Uttama Sloke. Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale. Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve. Namaste Saraswati Deve. Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvisesha Shunyavada. Prachacha Desatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda. Sri Advaita Gadadara. Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so today I selected verse 3.2.23. So I will just recite the verse. Aho Bakiyam Stanakala Kutam. Jinga Saya Apayat. Api Asadvi. Lebe Gatim. Datri Uchitam. Tatahanyam. Kamva Dayalum. Saranam Vrajema. Let's do word to word meaning. So 3.2.23. Third canto, second chapter, 23rd sloka. So Aho. Alas, Baki, the she demon, Putana, Yam, whom, Stana, of her breast, Kala, deadly, Kutam, poison, Jingasaya, out of envy, Apayat, nourished, Api, although, Asadvi, unfaithful, Lebhe, achieved, Gatim, destination. Datri Uchitam, just suitable for the nurse. Tata, beyond whom. Anyam, other. Come, who else? Va, certainly. Dayalum, merciful. Saranam, shelter. Rajayama, shall I take? Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So, alas, how shall I take the shelter of one more merciful than He who granted the position of mother to a she-demon, Putana, although she was unfaithful, and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. Purport. Here is an example of the extreme mercy of the Lord, even to his enemy. It is said that a noble man accepts the good qualities of a person of doubtful character, just as one accepts nectar from a stalk of poison. In his babyhood, he was administered deadly poison by Putana, a she-demon, who tried to kill the wonderful baby. And because she was a demon, it was impossible for her to know that the Supreme Lord, even though playing the part of a baby, was no less than the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. His value as the Supreme Lord did not diminish upon his becoming a baby to please his devotee Yashoda. The Lord may assume the form of a baby or a shape other than that of a human being, but it doesn't make the slightest difference. He is always the same Supreme. A living creature, however powerful he may become by dint of severe penance, can never become equal to the Supreme Lord. Lord Krishna accepted the motherhood of Putana because she pretended to be an affectionate mother, allowing Krishna to suck her breast. The Lord accepts the least qualification of the living entity and awards him the highest reward. That is the standard of his character. Therefore, who but the Lord can be the ultimate shelter? So, Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadankitam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunadan Vaitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vitakam Vaitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshware Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Hari Namo Namaha Hare Krishna Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavada Prachacha Desatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Okay, so out of all the Bhagavatam so far, this is my favorite verse. So that's why I picked this verse. So So the context is Uddhava. You all know Uddhava?
Yeah.
So who is Uddhava? Children. I want this class to be interactive, so we'll interact each other. Who is Uddhava? Yeah. So he is one of the, relatives, friend, and a best devotee. So three aspects. So here Uddhava is describing, it's the narration between Vidura and Uddhava. So here Uddhava is Vidura just said Krishna, and immediately Uddhava's body changed. And it's like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he heard the name Krishna, immediately his hair is standing and he is like rolling on the road. The same situation happened to Uddhava. And these 10 slokas from 3rd canto, 2nd chapter, 20th, 19th sloka onwards, it's like pure nectar. He keeps telling why Krishna is the best. So out of all those verses, 23rd is extremely special, where Aho Bakiyam Stanakala Kutam. Alas Bakiyam Stanakala Kutam means Baki means like demon. Stanakala Kutam came with breastful of poison. Jengasaya apayat api asadvi means she came. Usually mothers are like extremely loving and extremely caring, but this Putana in the form of mother came with breast full of poison, with full of dvesha. Imagine, like, if we say one word with Vaishnava, we call it Vaishnava Aparad, and we will really worry about, the consequences. But here, this personality came to kill Krishna in the name of mother. So what else is the highest offense than this? Out of all the offenses, nothing can go worse than this. Like a small baby, so innocent. Jingasya apayat api asadvi lebe gatim means destination. Datri uchitam tatahanyam kamvadayalum saranam means the destination what Krishna has given to this person who came to kill is the destination where people go to Himalayas leaving family and go for 10,000 years and are even more 100,000 years and to meditate for this goal. And Krishna, out of full mercy and compassion, he just gave this gift to this person. And Uddhava is telling to Vidura that who else is more compassionate than Krishna? And his tears are rolling when he's telling this narration to Vidura. So Srila Prabhupada used two sentences which are very profound. The Lord accepts the least qualification of the living entity. I will repeat. The Lord accepts the least qualification of living entity and award him the highest reward. So these things doesn't happen in material world. Even in the family, even any relationship, there is expectation that, I have to study hard, behave well. Then only that reciprocation from either mother, father, brother, sister, teacher, there is expectation. But here Krishna's that's why Krishna's deeds are inconceivable. We cannot understand with material logic. It's beyond our conception. Here Krishna is looking for the least qualification and giving the highest reward. And how is it possible? And Srila Prabhupada wrote one more simple statement. That is the standard of his character. Just only 2 sentences are so profound. And the 3rd sentence, therefore who but the Lord can be the ultimate shelter? So in this world, we get so many shelters. in our childhood, parents, then you grow up, children, wife, and then job, house, so many shelters over like 2.13 dehnosmin ada dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tada dehantar prapti derastatra namuhyate, right? In this cycle, from embryo, sperm and ova combine, and then a small embryo, 2 cell, 4 cell, 8 cell, and heart start beating at like 10, even before that, 7 weeks. Then limbs form slowly, and then the whole process, lungs and everything, and the baby comes out. Third canto is a beautiful canto where it says how much painful process is that birth of the baby. Kapila says to his mother Devahuti, but anyway, it's a different class altogether. Beautiful narration, but the whole point is, even once the baby comes out, the baby kept taking various destinations, various shelters, different shelters, boss, teacher. But here Srila Prabhupada said, like, therefore who but the Lord can be the ultimate shelter. So these three, that's why, yesterday I was discussing with whom, uh, yeah, okay, yes. So we both were discussing, that he was asking, like, I have few questions, we are exchanging back and forth. And I told him that you open after 20 years, right? After 25 years, you open any page of Srila Prabhupada book, immediately just one sentence will give you something to reflect for weeks, months, years. So that is the profound knowledge that is invested in each line, sentence of these books. So I would like to, take questions from all the children here. My background, if you see here on the screen here, brain, right? I am a brain doctor. I see, brain strokes, bleeding, and all that, brain related research and all that. That's my job. But spiritually, I also read Srila Prabhupada books. So whatever questions you have, let's discuss. Any questions? You can think about it and just raise the hand. And spiritual, even material also. That's okay. I'll keep.
I have one
Yes, yes, please.
So, like, so many times we heard about, not in here, in ISKCON, but outside, like third eye, and that third eye is connected, maybe that pituitary gland is there, that is connected with the third eye. Maybe, I don't know that. So, can you tell about that?
Yeah, I can tell about pituitary gland.
How that is connected, and
Yes.
how that sensation and everything.
So basically, in science, there is no third eye. Basically, that's kind of like, Atma. Where do you show Atma? You cannot show Atma. It's there. In the same way, the third eye conception, physically, there is no third eye. But if you have to show Atma, we can say material, it's in the heart. In the same way, the third eye, the so-called third eye, is materially in pituitary gland. So it's so interesting how Krishna designed the whole body. If you take eye, if you take anything, you will be so surprised. The whole mechanism. Now that Mataji asked this question, so pituitary gland is the supreme boss, and it controls every gland in the body. What are some important glands? Pancreas, thyroid, and all these, right? So when we eat food, lot of glucose in the body, and that glucose has to go into the cell. It's kind of like a science class rather than spiritual class. So, but the most important thing that fascinates me is how Krishna designed all this. That is the most fascinating. Whenever, that's why, always I see science as a vehicle to Krishna consciousness. Science as a vehicle to Krishna consciousness. So when we eat food, there is a lot of glucose, and that glucose has to go into the cells. So that signal comes from our brain. That brain is pituitary gland, and it releases into the bloodstream, and it goes through the blood and stimulates pancreas to get released. So in the same way, pituitary does like hundreds of different functions. Even if mother, when she's born, right, like mother and the baby is born, how does milk come from the breast all of a sudden? It's a function of pituitary gland, like oxytocin. So I want to give one example here. So okay, there are so many rich people, and everybody has iPhone, right? iPhone. Most of the people.
Most of us are Urdu.
So I use it all for Krishna service. So the reason why I said is Steve Jobs. You all know Steve Jobs?
Yes.
Who is Steve Jobs?
And he invented Apple.
Ah.
He founded Apple.
So he got pancreatic cancer. Pancreatic cancer. Steve Jobs got pancreatic cancer. So he has money equal to the US Treasury. Apple is one of the richest companies, but he is living in the West Coast in Palo Alto area. Nobody can develop a pancreas to put a pancreas into Steve Jobs' body to save him. So with money, with power, with anything, but if the time comes, yesterday we were discussing about death also. So very deep discussions we had. So the point is, whenever I see any spiritual, scientific thing, I always relate to spiritual context. That all these functions happen so precisely in the body. If something goes wrong, nobody can fix it. Doctors only do superficial things. Again, as doctors, we treat so many people. Some people get so better. Some people will never get better. We give the same treatment. Again, the karma comes into play. So that's my answer for pituitary gland. It's like a 1-year fellowship. Neuroendocrinology, if I go into the whole pituitary thing. But the message I want to deliver is, everything you see, try to see Krishna behind it. That's the most important thing. Yeah, very nice question. Yes.
Yeah, one more question.
Yes.
Can I ask?
Please.
Huh?
I like dialogue rather than monologue.
First question about third eye. I think only Prabhuji sees that. When it opens.
Hare Krishna.
I just laughed because
When you guys get married.
Okay. So
So,
Yes.
one small question. Like we hear in
Yes.
Nectar of Devotion and so many like in bhakti books, so where there is lot of bhakti in that. So when for pure devotees, when they chant, they get so many ecstatic symptoms in their body.
yes.
So they develop. So how that is related with brain? Can you?
First of all, I never saw any devotee who is getting ecstatic symptoms when chanting.
नहीं but होता है ना ऐसे.
It's like, at least, I don't know, did anybody saw somebody rolling like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when they are chanting? Anyone? Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Not ecstatically, but sleeping wise.
Yeah, right? Yes. That is other end of ecstasy.
That's
but to answer your question, Mataji, these are like exalted devotees.
Yeah, for
Ex-
them I'm asking. Not for us.
Oh, okay.
We are not pure here.
Yes.
We are trying to become a devotee.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, as I said, the material and spiritual, right? There are two aspects, material and spiritual. At the beginning, in this sloka itself, I was telling that Krishna's mercy to this breastful of poisonous woman coming to kill baby. Tell me anywhere in the world, just using brain, right? What will we do that kind of a person? What will we do if that person you see in the news or anywhere? Lifetime prison, right? Materially. But spiritually, what Krishna did? Krishna lifted to the supreme position. In the same way, the material and spiritual, the qualities that are manifested in the body cannot be explained by human science. Where science ends, spirituality begins. So that's so important. Always we see with human eye and try to understand, and we try to differentiate people with our brain. When brain kicks in, it immediately try to differentiate, and it tries to bring thoughts, so many thoughts. But to answer our question, where science ends, spirituality starts. Until and unless you enter into the realm of the spiritual world, you cannot understand. So that's why it is inconceivable. So to that, the reason why I chose mercy concept today is basically when we chant, great point, chanting. When we chant, what happens? We try to align mind, body, words, and we try to hear. But why we are not getting that supreme exalted effect? Because few things, we have so many impurities, not from this janma, from so many janmas, right? How many thoughts a human being comes per day? How many thoughts per day a human being gets?
Uncountable.
You really can't count. It depends, like, per day, like what you're doing. There's so many factors.
Yes.
Like if you're sleeping.
Sleeping is a
Why does it?
So science says, it depends on various factors, but an ordinary person, it's like 50,000 thoughts. 50,000, but again, with all this stuff, it's like you keep getting messages, Facebook and Twitter and email. Then in modern world, it's more than 80,000 or even 100,000. So there is a very nice statistic that teenagers, how many times they pick the phone to see. It's like thousands, many thousands of times they pick the phone.
Well, actually, once you do,
Yeah,
we don't really
there is a sign. So that is the other concept where once you pick, you don't drop it. That's the other problem, right? So anyways, back to this concept of thoughts and everything. Where am I? I lost my thought.
How many thoughts we have, human beings?
And before that, chanting. See, so when we start chanting, immediately the mind will go away. The most important thing is when we chant, Krishna has to, it's just like opening this door, right? When we chant, we are coming close to this door, and this whole house is Golok Vrindavan. Krishna has to open from inside to let you come. But Krishna will let you never, open that until our heart becomes 1000% purified. No kama, krodha, mada, mascharya, and ego, illusion. until and unless all these are purified. Like when you milk cows, how many of you milked cows? Oh my gosh. Is there a cow barn here? D-land, huh? D-land, yes. New Vrindavan, yes, 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 yes. So when you milk cows, so I'm so impressed. These days, people don't know where the milk comes from. Like it comes from Walmart, Costco. Very good. So when you milk cows, see how pure the milk is, crystal clear, completely pure. So the heart becomes completely pure. It's just not by wearing tilak, by wearing like some kurta, some dress. Uh, Krishna is watching us 24/7. Nobody can escape until and unless he sees that complete purity. In my experience, I only heard that kind of pure person. Of course, Sukadeva Goswami, Narada, and all those people. But the closest it gets is like Srila Prabhupada. If Prabhupada is a manifestation of, this is a great example, from material to spiritual, right? Imagine 70-year-old. If usually 70-year-old, who are non-devotees, they don't even come out of the house and walk until the end of the street, right? They just stay at home, retired, nothing to do. And this person, anyways, I love this Prabhupada Leelamrita first book. Is all the nectar is in the first book. So from 60, of course, his whole life is a nectar, but the special nectar from 55 to 65, before coming to US, how he prepared, how many times he failed. He's a pharmacist. He was born in Calcutta. He traveled throughout the India, went to Allahabad, Jhansi, League of Devotees. It's a 2-hour class again, to describe what happened in his life. Just describe those 10 years in quickly 3 minutes. So League of Devotees. And then eventually there is some issue there. He left from Allahabad and he has no place to go. As a pharmacist in 1940s and 50s, he used to earn 3,000 rupees in those days, and he gave everything and he stopped working, and then he went back to Calcutta. Nothing is going on, and one day the person working in his own store stole everything, and then he went to Vrindavan and he stayed there for some time. And actually he went to his god brother. There is various mutts at that time. He went to his god brother's mutt, and at that time he only had one kurta and one set. That two are like holes. There is no second dress. And he asked his god brother, can you please buy me one more pair? Because sadhus, vanaprastha to sannyas transition, if I have to go out and meet other people, I need nice dress to present Krishna consciousness. And he asked to support for Bhagavatam. Can you help to buy some papers to print Bhagavatam? And there is a conflict between Gaudiya Mat. Lot of people, even myself, until I read Leelamrita, I have questions why Prabhupada never supported Gaudiya Mat and all that. The amount of effort he put in Gaudiya Mat, in the sense like, try to make it better. And there is obstacles in every path. They are not supporting for his preaching work. They are not supporting for any of that stuff. And they let him go from Gaudiya Mat. And again, he's like, no home. And he started paying rent in Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan. And from Damodar temple, he started writing first canto. To write his first canto, he has to buy paper. Of course, he wrote it roughly, but to go to the printer, he has to walk from Radha Damodar temple to Mathura, and from Mathura he used to take train and get down in Delhi, and from that Delhi train station he used to go to the printer by walk. He never took like even rickshaw. The reason is you have to spend money to take rickshaw, and not even taking breakfast. And in this process, eventually he goes to the printer. And printer, he is very nice person. He said, Swamiji, did you eat anything? Never. And usually when we ask for printing, hey, can you print this book? I will come back tomorrow and pick it up. But Prabhupada never left from that printing place. He sat there, make sure everything is pakka. And then in the evening, again he walks back. Oh, by the way, this printer will arrange, the breakfast. That's what we do for sadhus if they come. And he goes back. That's how he printed 3 cantos, 3 volumes of first canto. So in those days, it's not like, okay, Prabhu, can you print 3rd canto, 5 volumes? No. The way he used to do is, first he asked this printer to print like 1,000 copies. So the printer will initially print 200 copies. And then the printer will only give like 100 copies. Now Prabhupada has to go from Vrindavan to Madura to Delhi to get those 100 copies and to sell to people in Delhi. He used to go to all the libraries, politicians by walk and take appointments. Imagine, just imagine a day of life without car. Just one day of life without car. Here, this 60-plus-year-old person is doing, with that complete faith in Krishna and Guru. Once he sells these 100 copies, then he gets Lakshmi, right? Then he gives that Lakshmi to the printer, and the printer will give another 100 set. So out of 3 volumes of first canto, once he sells, and there is everything, one-man army, writing, publishing, proofreading, marketing, selling. And then once the enough copies are sold, he again goes to Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan and write Srimad Bhagavatam, the next chapters. So I just want to give you the glimpse. Why I'm saying all this is, finally he prepared his first canto 5 years to prepare 1 canto. And he started coming to America. Again, he literally begged for, like, can you give me a ticket to go to America? Nobody sponsored. And Sumati Murarji, she sponsored this ticket in a cargo ship. There is no passengers. There is one Captain Agarwal, not Agarwal, Bhatia. Pandya, yes. Pandya and Srila Prabhupada and few people. So on the ship, 2 heart attacks. If something happens to us, immediately 911, where is 911? We call, right? Prabhupada, complete faith, Krishna, whatever you do, do it. And then he came here, and he has only 2 months visa. After 2 months, now Agarwal comes into play. That the one who sponsored is Agarwal, Gopal Agarwal in Pennsylvania, Butler, Pennsylvania. So it's such a transcendental. I use word transcendental only for Krishna's deeds, but when Krishna empowers somebody, how do you explain that happening again? Now at least we have everything, right? Our job, everything, and we cannot even do like 1 millionth of what Srila Prabhupada did. How do we explain materially the possibility? We have Facebook, internet, you name it. We have everything. But Srila Prabhupada, nothing. So that's why spirituality is something we cannot understand by our mind, our brain. It is all transcendental. So I will, share that the most important things in bhakti. Yesterday I was reading this verse, first canto, 19th chapter, 16th verse, where Parikshit Maharaj, he says that I never want to take birth again, but if I do have to take birth, 3 qualities. One, I have complete attachment and attraction to Krishna. Kunti Maharani says, Yadulandu Pandu Sutulandu Naku Moha Vishyadamu Chayavaya Ganasindu Cherid Gangabangi Ni Pada Saroja Chintanamupai Manasindu Achadruttito Kalayugarnatti Chegadaya Ishwara. The meaning is Yadavas and Pandavas, right? Mother side, mother-in-law side, So take my attachment. I don't have any attachments. No more interest in children, grandchildren. No more interest in this side, that side. My only prayer to you is always have to think your lotus feet. Complete attraction, just like rivers flow to the ocean non-stop, right? We have 60,000 thoughts every day, but these thoughts are like multi-directional. Tomorrow I have to catch flight, and after tomorrow I have to go to this place, and Monday I have to plan my schedule. I'm telling, so we don't have this complete undivided attention to lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So once we come to that stage, then Krishna will enter this door. Until that time, Krishna will keep testing us. The beauty of this thing is, we think, at least other people, outsiders, think that once you become devotee, no problems. Actually, based on reading scriptures, when you become devotee, Krishna will test you more and more and more and more and more. The greatest examples are for me Kunti Maharani, Srila Prabhupada, and His Holiness Jayapatak Maharaj. Keep testing. Unbelievable. I mean, that's how pure we should become. Then only, this is all theory, but this is good. Ajamil, even though it is theory, the power of Krishna, right? Even uttering one word, the whole reason why I choose this verse is, he looks the least qualified. Okay, he said one time Krishna, that's it. And he give and direct us in good direction. So yeah, the first one is unlimited attraction to lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and no more avocations. Second thing Parikshit asked is association of devotees. That is most important thing. Out of all, association, alphabet A comes first. And third thing is friendliness to everyone. Even though, in the form of wearing tilak and this and that, these 6 enemies are sitting in our heart: lust, anger, greed, illusion, false ego, all these things. We get anger, we get everything. To, even within the family, outside the family, so many things. Until and unless the heart becomes completely pure, and friendly to everyone. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Suni Saiva Swapake Pandita Samadarsana. Equal vision. Then we enter into this transcendental mellows. So Krishna is eagerly waiting to open the door. When will he will, it takes time. So the other very important thing for me is like, I'm not perfect. I'm like so fallen in the sense, I know this is all theory, but practical is extremely difficult. Being grahastha, being this, that, but my only prayer is like, mercy of devotees, mercy of Vaishnavas, mercy of Radharani, mercy of Krishna. So the theme I selected is the whole 10 verses, 3 to 23, easy to remember. The way you read from front to back, same, 3 to 2 3, 3 to 2 3. So yes, palindrome. This is the favorite verse. The verses, if you remember verses, even in life, sometimes things happen. You may little bit lag or slack in bhakti, but Bhagavatam and the verses and the devotees, immediately it gets reconnected. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said Bhagavatam is the spotless Purana. So I will just end the class in 2 minutes. I will read 2 more verses in this concept of mercy. 3 to 19, 3rd canto, 2nd chapter, 19th sloka. Drushta bhavadbhihi nanu rajasuye chejyasya krishnam dvishataha api siddhi yam yoginah samspruhayanti samyak yogena Krishna tad viraham saheta. This is a good learning experience, like for all the children. 3 to 19. Uddhava is saying, you have personally seen how the king of Chedi achieved success in yoga practice, although he hated Lord Krishna. Who is king of Chedi? Shishupal. Yes, Shishupal. So even the actual yogis aspire such success with great interest by performance of their various practices. Who can tolerate separation from him? So Uddhava is telling that Shishupal, he literally cursed. This is a very nice narration by Uddhava. He cursed 100 times. All the other people are so angry. The same thing happened to Potana, happened to Shishupal. After the 100 curse, boom, Sudarshan Chakra went and he got, yes. The spirit soul, it went almost close to Golok Vrindavan. So the next verse is also very special. It is about Arjuna. Certainly others who were fighters on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were purified by the onslaught of Arjuna's arrows. And while seeing the lotus-like face of Krishna, so pleasing to the eyes, they achieved the abode of the Lord. Means Arjuna is killing everyone in Kurukshetra, right? And everybody is bleeding. While they are bleeding, they are seeing Arjuna's, who is in front of Arjuna? Krishna. So when they are dying in the hands of Arjuna, at the time of death, which devotees saw Krishna at the time of death, face to face? Bhishma. So whoever died on the Kurukshetra battle in the hands of Arjuna died seeing Krishna. How fortunate death that is. So what is the end goal of our life? We are all doing this for only one reason. Why 8 o'clock or 7:30 in Charlotte we have to sit, drive for 10 miles, 20 miles, 30 miles, come here, or chant in the morning like 4 to 6, read Bhagavatam, do seva to Krishna. Two purposes. One, for our selfishness, is Antya Narayana Smriti, but the highest purpose is to please Krishna. So the lower purpose, which is very tough, when I work in hospital, at least weekly 10 people will die in my hands, like bleeding, brain. Yesterday we had beautiful discussion why brain is important. If something happens to elbow, it goes up, it goes down, it goes sideways, but brain can hold 1400 ml. It cannot hold more. It cannot go up, downside. So if something happens, so wear helmets.
If concussion happens, then
What?
if concussion happens,
Yeah, anything, like everything on a scale of 1 to 10. Mild concussion, okay, but NFL players, when they have repeated concussion, brain gets affected at a microcellular level. And if you see Muhammad Ali and all these people who are boxing and concussion, they're 50s, 60s, they start declining. But the whole point is, how many people will get Antya Narayana Smriti? 99% impossible. You may die while sleeping, you may die, or I may die, whatever. We don't even know when we will die. Then how do we even know at the time of death? Vedas say that 10,000 scorpions will bite at the same moment. That is the pain a person suffers at the time of death. And with full happiness and full vigor, we don't even have time to say Hari, right? In a sense, at least for me. But at the time of 10,000 scorpions biting, what is the chance of saying Hare Krishna? So all our effort is that final 5 seconds. It's like our exam. You prepare for 10 years to take MCAT to get into medical school. That MCAT exam, 4 years will decide, 4 hours or 5 hours will decide our 10 years effort. So as a devotee, our 60, 70, 80, 90 years effort will be decided in that 10 seconds. So the end goal is Antya Narayana Smriti. And also the most important thing, that's why Krishna, out of the thieves, I am the highest. Braje prasiddham navanita choram, gopangananam chedukula choram, aneka janmarjita papa choram, choragraganyam tamaham bhajami. Chora agra ganyam. Out of all the thieves, I am number 1. So when you become devotee, Krishna will trick that even though you don't say Antya Narayana Smriti, Krishna will change the rules. Only Krishna can change the rules. And he can give the credit. So that's why devotees are protected. We know people died in accidents, this, that, but the bhakti you do, Neha Vikramo Nasosti Pratyavayo Na Vidyate Swalpam Apyasya Dharmasya Trayato Mahato Bayat. Even little bhakti we do, it will save from huge danger, like Draupadi, right? Small sari, not small sari, small piece, unlimited sari. So with that, I will end here. Any questions, comments, suggestions? Yes, Subhadip.
My question is very simple. You discussed with that exalted soul yesterday.
Yes.
So, did you study his brain? Because we are all in a big dilemma. None of us know this brain actually.
I mean, I'm learning about it
He
in
comes
school.
out with the most stupid and most brilliant idea.
But
During your conversation,
What
did
do
you
you
find anything to understand?
I really like people asking me questions. In that way, it's more dialogue. And to ask question, you need a lot of courage. Even in conferences, I speak only like with close knit people. But even at work, I never open my mouth. Anywhere, I never open my mouth because I don't know. When we ask question and it's like back and forth, but I'm really impressed the way, the whole back and forth. That's the beauty of Srila Prabhupada's mercy, right? We are all sitting here having this conversation, excellent prasadam, and this philosophy. How is it possible? Only because of mercy of Srila Prabhupada. And because of that mercy, people, the children who are third generation, fourth generation, they are like, from this age, like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, they are reading Bhagavad Gita. They know Bhagavad Gita 700 slokas. So this is what Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. He will teach us in few years. And as Mataji, you mentioned, like, that exalted this, people who trained from early, they will change the world. Yeah.
All these kids can give the class.
Yes, so that's why in my class I break rules, and even in Omaha I always start with interaction with kids. Our children are exalted Vaishnavas. In that way, I highly encourage children to give classes. Even they lead best kirtans. In Omaha we have everything is led by kids. Kirtans, and just like they did just now, Mahaprasade Govinde and all that. So, Prabhu, you have a question?
Yeah. So same thing. So in bhakti, like the main thing is to control our mind. Right? So again, we have like so many processes. Bhakti processes are defined.
Yeah.
But I don't think there is anything in medical science to control mind. But intoxication is a way like people control mind materially.
Yes.
But there is no way to control your thoughts or minds like materially or
chemically, like
instead of
doing bhakti process, put some chemical in mind and then like your
all negative thoughts goes away.
So great point. What is America suffering from now? Depression. Because of depression, people abuse opioids. Opioids, right?
We had this paper at school. For suicide.
Yes. So why I came to Charlotte? What is the conference I attended? So in medicine, people think, oh, doctors are rich, doctors are highly educated, doctors are superheroes, they are best, right? But in America, not only in America, throughout world, doctors are most depressed, anxious, suicidal, drug abused. Yes. So that's why it's one of the hot topics in medicine. In medicine now, if you go to any national conference about heart, about brain, about anything else, they are not talking about cure for Alzheimer's, cure for pancreatic cancer, cure for aneurysm. They are talking how we can help doctors. Because imagine, so Google, in this country, every year 400 doctors commit suicide. 400.
So bad.
Yeah, in America, 400 doctors commit suicide.
That's terrible.
And out of 100 doctors, 50% of doctors are depressed. So we are all going to these doctors who are depressed, anxious. So you can Google once, weekend you have time, you can Google. So that is, even though I am a Krishna conscious, I somehow, as Vaishnavas, we are altruistic. We want to help people. para dukkha dukhi. So that's my one main area of interest, how we can change things. So that's why I'm traveling. That's the reason why I came here. Why I'm connecting that with your question is, even doctors have no clue. So in material science, there is no control for mind. What will we do? People smoke, people drink. So what is happy hour? It's like so much stressful, and they numb the brain,
They numb the brain, yes.
right? For that 1 hour. Does it fix it? Anything? So on the other hand, what bhakti can do is, when Srila Prabhupada came, he turned all hippies to happies. Those who are completely on high, on all different drugs, and he gave this small drug. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. And all the Maharajas, 50 years anniversary, we were in Boston Pier, exactly 50th year that day, and at least like 20 Maharajas were there in the Boston Pier, and we had a big festival. And every one of them, most of them said, oh, I am a woman hunter, I am a drug abuser. Most of them who attended, like I will say 60% of them. And a person who is like coming from India, boom, that's what bhakti can do. So to answer the question, material, I mean, I'm a big believer of science. I'm a doctor, right? I treat people. Science is doing so much good, but at the same time, science will help external thing little bit. But the most important thing is internal. But both are important. And always one more thing I will say, self-compassion. Sometimes we say, oh, I'm not chanting properly, I'm not, you need 9 months to give birth to baby. In the same way, to progress in bhakti, it takes time to 90% of people. And rest 10%, Prasad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, all those kinds are like extraordinary. So always we have to think that, yes, I have to do sadhana. There is no way around it. Sometimes we slack. We have to be compassionate on ourselves rather than, critical and depressed. I see, Vaishnava patients also. So I always believer in Nehabhikramo Nasosti, and also 3:23, that even little bit Krishna sees. Yes.
Prabhuji, one question.
Prabhu, yes.
Prabhuji, you are saying something.
अर्जुन ने पूछा था ना भगवान, अरे कि चंचलम ही मन कृष्ण प्रमाति बलवदे तस्यहम निग्रहम भजे वायु सुदुष्कर। तो फिर उसने जवाब दिया था कि अभ्यास न तू कौन थे असंशय महाभाव मन चलम ध्रुव। अभ्यास न तू कौन थे वैराग्य न च गृह्यते। सतत भक्ति का अभ्यास रखेंगे तो इस सब पर आ जाएंगे। माइंड घूमता है यहाँ से, मन नहीं लगता है, क्यों? सतत हमारा अभ्यास नहीं है भक्ति का।
Beautiful. Practice and detachment.
Yes. इसे पॉसिबल છે જ ભક્તિ કરવા માટે આ બે વસ્તુ જે ભગવાને બતાવી કે સતત એનો અભ્યાસ તો જ તમારો વૈરાગ્ય એટલે આસક્તિ જશે, બાકી નહીં જશે. એટેચમેન્ટ રહેશે.
So my question is like not very spiritual kind of.
Yes.
You're more of medical thing.
Yes.
So when people die, in our shastras it is said like from various parts of your body soul actually exists.
Mm-hmm.
In medical science, I mean, what is the statistically most like that people has open eyes when they die, or like when they close, when they die, the eyes are closed, or like how they die?
Oh, yeah.
So we, as neurologists, we always get this consult. Means other people ask the same question. We call that consult. Basically, sometimes people with heart attack admitted in the ICU. They are in the tubes for 2 weeks, and now the ICU doctor will call saying, "Is the patient dead? Can you tell me?" So, what are some criteria we call, brain stem? Somebody said vital signs. That is very important, right? Vital signs: heartbeat, respiration, temperature, but most importantly, brain stem function, like cough reflex, gag reflex, reflecting to light. If you put light in somebody's eyes has to constrict. So that is first level. And after that, we put cold water in the ear. It's a beautiful reflex how Krishna designed. No, children, don't try this. It's terrible. It's only like, at the time of death. Anyway, they are dead. What happens is, if you put cold water, ice will swing to that direction. If the patient is still alive, if nothing happens, the patient dies. Still, like, we don't know if the patient is dead, then we will take that patient to EEG. We hook the brain waves electroencephalogram, right? And see if there is a rhythm going. And still we don't know that, then we'll take the patient to cath lab and go put a catheter and take the camera to the brain and see if there is blood flowing in the brain. So these are all various steps, but most likely by exam we can tell, it's close to death. So that's the various steps.
Did you ever try the way Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya tried on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
What is it?
When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went into ecstasy,
Yes.
and everybody thought he's dead because he was not moving at all.
Yeah.
And Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya was going with his disciples. So they called him and said, because he's an Acharya, this person is dead or what?
Mm.
So he, like you say, he saw the vitals,
Yes.
nothing.
Yeah.
Then he said, okay, let me try one more thing. They asked for a cotton, just a little cotton.
Yeah.
He put in his finger here,
Yeah.
and held it near his nostril for some time. And then once thing in that mood,
Yeah.
so he said, no, he's still alive. Although he's externally looking like dead, no symptoms.
Yeah.
But because this little strain of that cotton moved, so yeah, I think I'm just giving you one new idea.
So unfortunately, what happens in ICU is these days they put tubes everywhere, and the machine is with big display, and it also is alive and all that.
So I have a question. It's more psychology
Yeah,
related.
yeah.
So the super ego and the ego and stuff. So how do you repress the negativity in terms of the thoughts that go on in like your super ego? Because like a lot of times people have like subconscious thoughts that like they're so twisted and corrupt that like you wouldn't expect a person to have those thoughts. So how do you repress thoughts like that? How do you keep them from continuing?
I mean, I'm both material and spiritual. So from spiritual angle, Bhagavad Gita 2.5354, Raso Varjyam Rasopyasya Param Drishtya Nivartite, means when sun is not here, right? So that's why it's all dark. The moment sun comes, automatically there is no darkness. In the same way, if you have the best thoughts in the whole world, is listening to the glories of whatever, like as per Shastra, is Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, all that now with the Bhakti. The most important thing is Sravanam or Smaranam. Then all the lower things will be gone. So that is what Shastra is telling, how to repress 2.5 50 onwards, Bhagavad Gita. Materially, Kali Yuga, it's terrible. Out of all, Prabhupada, I always meditate and think, if Prabhupada is here in 2019, definitely I don't know whether he says, out of all 4 regulative principles, this is the most dangerous one. This is the most dangerous one.
Maharaj also said if
Yeah.
Prabhupada is here today, he would definitely have introduced the 5th regulation and no phone.
Yes. So practically, as a material thing wise, this is a big problem. Even I am addicted. I am very active on many things, and it's a tough. Even though I'm doing YouTube stuff now, like recording the video of this, but that's the biggest thing. We have to look for distractors when to specifically answer our question, like negative things. Always I say, at least for me, how it works is association. Wherever I go, I travel a lot. Last weekend I was in Gita Nagari. This weekend I am here. Next weekend I am going to Virginia, Ronak. So whenever I go, wherever I go, always I try to associate with devotees. I can see clear difference. Sometimes there is no devotees in some of the places I go. I have to stay in the hotel. Immediately I'll put TV, right?
Yeah.
Or something distracting, or go to see the town. Oh, I came to this place. Let's explore this place. But once you are with devotees, all ask Prabhu, right? Morning we talk little bit, I go, evening we talk, and we talk about Krishna. And so association is very important. Books. Wherever I go, I try to carry book. How do I know these verses? I don't even have time or anything to do any sadhana or anything. But keeping the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam in the pocket and reading on the wherever you have time. C is chanting. And D is devotion, D is diet. These 4 are very, very important to curb. C is also cell phone. These are all very important to yeah. E, exercise is also very important. So mind, body, spirit. If you see Srila Prabhupada, he used to do morning walks, period. Lot of his morning walks are recorded. So if you see, if any questions, what to do, what I have to do in life, read Prabhupada books, hear his tapes, all the solutions are out there. So that's my material and spiritual explanation. A, B, C, D, E. Yes.
This is not a material question, but I was just gonna ask. When you extract like a bullet or something out of the brain, if you do one move wrong, just like a slight touch on one of the other parts of the brain, can that patient move down?
It depends on the vital structures. If the bullet goes through here, nobody can, the most important arteries goes through. Imagine this big brain, it get narrowed here. So all the important structures are going from the neck. So if something happens here, there is no hope. But sometimes in the hospital, it's so surprising. People come with a kind of like bullets here, and they go superficially, still goes through the brain. Some survives because if it doesn't rupture the main vessels. So it all depends on where that bullet is. Yes, somebody is raising hand here. So I keep talking non-stop, but I don't want to keep you for long. We are happy to chat. That's okay too. But yeah.
One question.
Yes, not as-
Like for brain.
One more.
No. I really appreciate.
when the child get born,
Yes.
at that time, his brain here we say it's a tadu bhag, so we call that portion is moving a lot, you know. So there is nothing.
Yeah.
And when the kid, as they grow up, that portion, that area means develop, you know. So that one thing, and for yogi, when he meditates, it says that that soul is coming from here, and this portion get cracked. So can you put some light on this?
So basically, the first part, when a baby is born, we call it anterior fontanelle. The name for that is, medical name is anterior fontanelle and posterior fontanelle. So there are 4 bones, right? Frontal. Also, what are those bones?
Temporal lobes. I started with an O, I forgot.
Occipital.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just did it today.
Okay, good job. So 4 bones, they are smaller, and as time goes, they become bigger. And then we call it suture lines, the junctions. That is just normal anatomy. But yogis, you know, the soul coming from here, there, at least Bhagavad Gita, there is some literature, you know, Vedas are so vast. But Srila Prabhupada always says that, you know, yogis can do 9 kinds of different miracles.
Yes.
So he always says, don't focus on that. It's like lower plane. And the next above is, topmost is bhakti. So yogis 1.2.11, vadanti tatvidastatvam yajnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaneti iti sabhyate. Right? So 3 stages. Just like we don't have sun right now, and in the morning the sunlight you see. So with yogis, all these things, they only approach up to the level of that outer sunlight. With devotees, what happens is, you can directly, I mean, once you get purified, you can enter into Goloka Brindavan and serve there. So that is the vast difference. Always, I also teach medical students. Always I tell them also, I like being focused, laser focused. Okay, out of so many things, what is Srila Prabhupada's highest instruction? Very simple. Chant 16 rounds, 4 regulative principles, read his books, all questions clarified. So if we having these questions, always I ask myself, how many books of Srila Prabhupada I read? Still slacking, big way. You know, I have to read so many books. So just focus on just these 5 things. And listening, Sravanam, 6 things. 4 regulative principles, chanting, reading his book, hearing to Srila Prabhupada. That's it. You don't need to do anything else. All problems, all questions will be answered.
But that question was, Prabhuji, for yogis, does it crack? So ऐसे crack हो सकता है क्या?
Crack? No.
यहाँ पे
No.
तो मतलब जो लिखा है भगवद गीता में, it said that for yogi, the soul will come out from this.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
From Randhran.
From Brahmarandhrena. So
Yes.
crack होता है.
So the word crack is like, comes out is different and cracking is different. Cracking is like breaking, right?
क्योंकि दरवाजा तो चाहिए ना, जैसे these are
Soul does not think.
नहीं, like eyes, it come out from eye, or maybe from ear, or maybe from mouth. There is some, ये gates ही है ना. So for Like for soul, I'm asking.
I have no idea.
उसका प्रमाण कितना है? बाल के आगे हो क्या? 10,000 बाल.
Yeah.
तो cat खाने सवाल नहीं. Cat
अब जैसे when the person die, if the soul comes out from the eyes, तो ऐसे eyeball उसके बाहर आ जाते हैं. कान में से गया तो कान में से कुछ ऐसा कुछ होता है.
वही तो मेरा मैंने भी क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछा.
Eyes remain open.
Just eyes remain open.
बोलो यमदूतों को देख ले तुम्हारे.
You should read the third canto.
तो उसका ऊपर से जाएगा ही नहीं, नीचे से जाएगा. नहीं, कैसे आएगा?
यानी साइज आपने नहीं चूज सकता. तो बच्चे ने चाहे ऊपर थी जाए नीचे जाए.
So
Arnav has a question.
okay, last question.
I have one.
Yes. Yes.
I know how when a snake, like when a poisonous snake bites, it blocks the nerve system from going. But what if like a snake bites from the foot and it blocks the nerve system from the foot? Can you still die from that because it's not going to like the nerves for like the heart or something?
So what does snake release?
Yeah, that's just the
Poison.
bloodstream.
So-
Or enters the bloodstream,
That
and
means
then
it goes
the
to your
blood
most right to your
goes
entire body.
Yes,
It's
Thank you.
It's a proof of association.
Yes.
That's why associating with a doctor, everybody becomes.
That is, Prabhu, yes.
It's about mind.
Yeah.
Mind.
Yes.
Somewhat related to this topic. So while we are talking, our in the back end, like mind, like in laptop, like lot of processor runs. Right?
Yes.
One processor runs in the back end, like thinking one thing, and other thing. Is there anything to subdue and like for concentrate on like here instead of avoiding all running in the back end processes of the mind?
Same answer. Practice,
Correct.
detachment. So, to answer that question, Prabhupada always used to say evidence-based, right? If we give a drug, there should be evidence. So, first canto, second chapter, 7 sloka. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Asu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayat Ahaitika. That's okay. What a beautiful name, Dhruva. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful name. That's okay, that's fine. Yeah. So, no, that's fine. So, to answer that, the first canto, second chapter is so beautiful. That's why we have to read Srila Prabhupada books, the answers. So, the 6th sloka tells that the highest purpose of human being, the birth, is bhakti, doing bhakti. And by doing bhakti, what happens is detachment comes. Until and unless we are slowly detached, that not, in a haphazard way. Okay, from tomorrow onwards, I'm going to Kasi. I'm not a doctor, right? No, it shouldn't be like that. It should be like a systematic, slow detachment. Until and unless, because we go through a lot, children, job, bills. Of course, there are so many distractors, but slowly, we have to downgrade everything. Rather than upgrading, it will be more and more. Somehow everything we have to downgrade. In Omaha, we have this Prabhu, Ranga Prabhu. he always talks about how he downgraded from 5 years to now. Until and unless you downgrade the thoughts, we cannot. The solution is practice. So that's why we keep practicing Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and reading Bhagavatam. Just today's verse, right? If you meditate on Aho Bakiyam Stanakala Kotam Jingasaya Apaya Tapi Asadvi Lebe Gatim Datri Uchitam Tatahanyam Kamva Dayalam Saranam Rajama. If you combine 1,000 Rasagullas combined together, they are nothing close to this verse. I remember meditate on this verse and no need to eat. So that is the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam. So at least what I do is chanting and reading Srila Prabhupada books, hearing. By doing that, guaranteed the thoughts will go away, but it takes 1 decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, based on the intensity. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. Right? When you boil milk, you put in the lowest sim, right? Least, it takes like 5 hours. If you put like 10 out of 10, boom, 5 minutes. So the process, how seriously we are doing this, that's the result. So I will end here saying 1.1.3. Nigama kalpataro galitam phalam Sukha Mukat Amrita Drava Samyutam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasam Alayam Muhu Aho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavukaha. Meaning Bhagavatam is like mango, best mango ever in the whole world. That came out of the Vedic tree, and that mango is bitten by Sukadeva Goswami, and Srila Prabhupada made it even more sweeter, and just we have to drink it, and then you relish. See, the Potana's this thing, hair will stand whenever I meditate on this. But Krishna doesn't give that mercy, right? Sometimes I was so low, work is so stressful. Until and unless I come into devotee association, Krishna doesn't open that mercy of discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's my 2 cents. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Just one last thing.
Yes.
This group here, most of us, Monday to Thursday, we just chant 1 round together via phone, Zoom, this, that, and then we read 1 chapter of Bhagavatam together every day. That's why you can see them, like white faces.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Having senior Vaishnavas like Subhuddhi Krishna Prabhu and Prabhu, you are all very lucky. Very lucky. And somebody who runs like the Bhagavatam every day, that is in Kali Yuga, what is the possibility? Ask your friends. They don't even know the difference between Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Right?
I remember like very first few session of it's not like few meetings I had, and everybody was talking Bhagavatam, and so I didn't know the difference.
Yeah.
And then I came home and I did Google search, and then I read different answers from Gora and some ISKCON derived.
Yeah.
So that's how, like 2 years back, I even didn't know what is the difference between Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad.
So it's only devotees.
We used to have that Bhagavad Sapta and all that, but there used to be like sometimes they say Ramayana, sometimes they say Krishna pastime, sometimes they do something else. So I didn't know what is that. Maybe some storytelling or pastime telling. I didn't know it's a whole Quran and
Supermarket.
So that is very true. Like many people don't know.
Yes. So Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you so much.